Now I'm still not really satisfied with the way it looks, so I would like to have it in a table format so I can have the same spacing between each item and maybe also have some borders on it, etc. So we're gonna change it up in our script. First of all, now here we have for each row, but I want very first to have a row with labels on it for the different things. So I want to fetch field names from this, the column names actually that I put here. When I say name, I just get the name from my database, but when I say as date, I get the name I put as after as date. So we're going to use the fetch field function, MySQL fetch field, and what we want is this bit down here. We fetch field from the results set. Let's just copy paste this in first and then explain. I take the comment with me. And actually I want it down here because we want to display field names. What we do is we get field information for all fields. Remember, fields and columns in our table are the same thing. So I want, well, first of all, let's just get the field info and see what happens for now, because it's using this printf. We're not going to use this, but we'll show in a minute. First, let's see if it actually works. Yes, we got the name task, the name, and the name date, the name start, the name end, and then we start our data here. So now we need to format this. So what I want to make is a table. So we start making a table already here, just a MySQL or HTML table, and we also need to end our table, and then we need to make a table row, and this table row, the first table row will end here. So I'm going to put it in right here, table row end. So we have table row begin up here and table row end down here. And I forgot the semicolon. Then we want to print not name and this. We want to say echo a table header cell for our table, and we want to, inside this table header, we want to put, we're going to concatenate it with our field info, just like this, and again concatenate with the end of our table header cell. Then we end the table row here. Now let's just see if it works. Of course it's not finished, so it's going to be an unfinished table here. Task, name, date, start, end. Just what we wanted. But we need to finish our table, so we also want to put the rest of our stuff into a table. So we start in here. For each time we run this whole, we fetch array. That means we're going to fetch one row at a time from our table. So for each row, we first need to say echo a table row. So we start a new HTML table row, And then for each of these, we first start a new table cell, TD, concatenate with row, and then instead of having a space in between, we end our table cell and start a new table cell for the next item of information. We're going to do this for all of them. In here, in here. I forgot the semicolon there. And in here, and in here. Save it. This also means we don't need this break here anymore, but we will end our row here. And now we should get everything in a tabular format here. Task, name, date, start, end. So if we want it to look nice, we can make some CSS. With a little styling, our data now looks like this. I think I want the names to be capital letters, so I can change this in my query. Go here, select task as task, name as name, time, and end time. And I think I should probably put those in quotation marks. Let's see if it works. Yes. It doesn't work because here, as if I use more than one word, I should put quotation marks around it so that in the query it's understood that this is one thing, one string. So let's try again. Task on line 44. Of course, then I also need to change these down here. Row task, etc. But I want to do something else actually. So this doesn't work because now I have changed the names. So I can change these names here to whatever I have up here. But instead I want to do something else because I want to go through each of these. I don't need to specify the names down here. I have them up here in the order I want. So I want to use a loop to go through each item in each row. So here we get each row and put it into row, and each row is actually an array that contains the task, the name, etc., etc. in this order up here. So task, name, and for this I can use a loop in W3 Schools. So there are while loops, for loops, etc. I'm looking for for loops because I'm looking for a particular for loop you can use for array. This is the for each loop. So you can say for each item in this array, you will put this item into a variable called $value, and it will be shown first. The first value is red here. So red will be put into value, and then we can echo value. Then we use the loop again, get to green, put into value, and we can echo value, etc. We want to do the same, so we want to use the for each loop on our rows. So I go down here and I say for each $row as dollar, let's just call it value like the example. We will echo just one value. I'm going to copy this from here and say echo. And now I don't want to echo this whole task thing in row. I want to echo $value. And now I can delete the rest. And I should get all my stuff, except I want to again echo the end of my row for each one, for each row. There we go. And I should remember our semicolon. So now our app should work again. It fetches them 2 times. This is because we are using MySQL fetch array, but it actually fetches 2 arrays. It fetches, if we look it up, PHP-myadmin here, not PHP-myadmin, sorry, W3 schools, fetch array function. Then we can see here that the MySQL fetch array fetches a result row as an associative array, a numeric array, or both. So with the associative array, you can call actually specifically what kind of fields, the field names that you want. With a numeric array, it's what number it has in the index, or you can have both. Now the thing is, we have both because we've not defined which part we want. So we're going to choose one now, and I'm going to choose the associative result and put it in here. Save and see if that did not help. We hope so. So now we get each result once. Also, maybe I want start time and end time. Well, I want those aligned to the right. Or we could get the results, maybe we should get it with a 0 in front of it so they all align up nicely. Then we need to check out our format with zeros in front of it. So it's the capital H. Let's find our query and do that. Capital H in both places. Save it. Look it up again. And there we go. So now they're nicely aligned here. We could also get some left or whatever we want. And of course we could just use our CSS to define some of the things. So actually what we have now is a loop inside a loop. So with our while loop, we say as long as we have rows in MySQL fetch array, then we'll get one row at a time. And of course the loop will stop when MySQL fetch array has no more rows in them. We create or print out a table row beginning. Then we make a new loop. Use our for each to pick into row. So first time we have first row of our table, and we take each value and we loop as long as there are values inside the row. We loop all the values and then print them out to our table one at a time inside a table cell. End our row once this loop is all over, and go to a new row until we finish here, and then we go out of our PHP and finish our table.